Hello Eating Global, welcome back to another episode. Today we are making Drunken Noodles, or the more proper term would be Pad Kee Mao. Now, Pad Kee Mao, a lot of times I try to give you an origin of this dish, or a dish I'm making, but the origin seems to be quite mixed on this one. Now, the closest thing I can really come up with is that it's related to Pad Kee, which is a Thai dish that has noodles and some sort of meat and some sort of beef and an oyster-based sauce that's sweet and soy saucy and all that stuff. But Pad Kee Mao is a spicier version of that. And it probably has Chinese influence that started hitting into Thailand in the 1900s, the early 1900s, sort of similar to Pad Kee, but we don't really know. If you have a better origin, maybe you can share in the comments and we'll find out together where this dish comes from. But we do know that it's great taste. So basically, in Pad Kee Mao, my microwave is going off for some reason. My Pad Kee Mao here is, this is gonna be a recipe for one. Well, not really a recipe, but you know what I'm saying. If you've been with us at Eating Global before, we don't use recipes. So we just kind of put stuff together until it tastes good because we taste it, okay? So anyway, so for usually Pad Kee Mao and Pad Kee both are used, or both use wide rice noodles. But for this, I happen to like just good old-fashioned egg noodles. This is actually just pappardelle pasta, which is a wide pasta, which is what we should have. But it would be very similar to the rice noodles. It's a very wide rice noodle that you would traditionally see in Pad Kee Mao or Pad Kee. But I just like the chew and texture of egg noodles better, and I seem to think they hold sauce better. So it's a better vehicle for delivering our delicious goodies that we're going to be putting in there. Speaking of those delicious goodies, since this is a spicy dish, we'll be putting some jalapeno in there. If you want to put Thai chilies in there, which would be more traditional, you certainly can. Those are more of a medical situation, if you will, but jalapeno should treat you fine. I'm going to obviously put onion in. Surprise, onion goes in everything. And I'm going to be putting ground sirloin in. This is 90% lean ground sirloin, so we don't end up with a sloppy, greasy mess and a grease fire here. We want to keep the arteries intact. So anyway, we're going to make all these things together. One of the special things about Pad Kee and Pad Kee Mao, which is what we're making tonight, it has a textural noodle thing. So just like you see when I make Italian dishes, I like to texturize my noodles. But for Pad Kee Mao, we're going to really saute them and get them like crispy almost. And that is a taste sensation that just, I don't know. You'll see, it's just unbelievable. So we're going to fry the noodles. For that, we're going to make a mix beforehand, and we're going to do a two-step process where we make the veggies and the meat, and we'll put those aside, and then put the noodles in, stir-fry the heck out of them, get them nice and textural, and then put everything back together. Here we go. Okay, so naturally, we're going to start with the onion here. Like I said, this is a portion for one. I will be eating alone tonight, but if you're serving guests, you can certainly extrapolate this up to as large as you want. I mean, obviously, I'm using 6 ounces of beef here for just myself, which the whole dish will end up being, probably around 10 ounces or so by the time the veggies and pasta are in there. And that's just how we're going to go with it. But you can add more onion, you can add more everything to make it a larger dish, obviously, and more pasta and more meat. But I usually do about 6 ounces of meat per serving or per person. If you like bigger amounts of meat, you can do that. But I am a 6 ounce beef kind of eater, so we'll go with that. Okay, for stir fries, I cut my onions just as a slice like that so that we know there's onions in it and they're still textural when we get to eating them. Now with our jalapeno, we want to be really careful not to get the seeds all over our hands. You might want to use gloves for this because it can really, if you're using hot peppers, jalapeno is not the worst, but especially if you're using the Thai chilies, your hands will not thank you for handling them without gloves or something. I mean, it takes some hours to get rid of that. So anyway, so we're just going to carefully not get the capsaicin parts all over our hands. Now I'm going to cook these down quite a lot. As you cook them, the heat sort of starts dissipating throughout the dish, and that's kind of what we want. We don't want just slap heat here and not heat over here. So That's where we're kind of going to go with the jalapenos at least, or if you're using, of course, Thai chilies or whatever kind of chilies you want. Okay, after handling peppers like this, it's always a good idea to wash your hands with like dish soap or something that's really nice and, takes off oil, because peppers, obviously that capsaicin is an oil, so we want to get that off our hands as much as possible. Okay, into a very hot pan, very hot. This is my beloved cast iron wok. I love this thing so much. I use it for so many dishes and so many different international dishes as well, not just Asian, but yeah. So anyway, screaming hot, screaming hot. I put the jalapeno and the onions in here. Now, if you've been with us for any time, you know the drill. We salt to start our vegetables. We pepper to start our vegetables. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Those peppers will, you inhale some of that steam? Yeah, they'll wake you up. Okay, I'm gonna put the beef in here. Now, our green onions, I always put green onions in almost every stir fry. Those will go in almost last, when we're done cooking it. Because if you cook the green onions too much in here, they'll just kind of disappear and go into the background. We want that fresh, vibrant flavor and color from the green onions later on. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start seasoning this up. Soy sauce goes in. About a tablespoon of oyster sauce. Now, this is a very important ingredient. Of course, I love just, oyster sauce is a very powerful taste. Very important ingredient in Pad Kee Mao. A little more salt going here because we did add the beef. All right, we're gonna put sugar in here. Now, sugar is a very important part of this dish. A lot of times I'll say that things aren't really sweet because of sugar, but this dish, we want to be sort of sweet. It's not as sweet as its less fiery cousin, Pad See Ew, but still sweet enough. We have to counterbalance this spice. Now in goes the garlic. I'm running this through the garlic press. I'm putting a crazy amount of garlic. So this is going to be at least 3 large cloves. Let's see how that looks. Yeah. Smells amazing. Garlic goes in later in the cooking process because we don't want to overcook it. We don't want to brown it and make it bitter. All right. Now in Pad Kee Mao and Pad See Ew goes 1 egg for 1 portion. We're going to scramble that in here. This is as much of a textural thing as it is anything else. Taste test time. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh boy. So I'm actually going to take the mixture here that is cooked and delicious, and I'm going to transfer that into another bowl real quick, temporarily. I'm going to clean up the wok just a little bit here. In the meantime, I'm also going to get my water boiling for the pasta. Now again, I'm just eating it for 1 here, so not too much. But anyway, in goes the pappardelle to the boiling water. Pappardelle takes a while to boil. So I'm going to just go do something else. I don't know what. I'm just going to do something else. Okay, so the Italian pappardelle is now perfectly al dente for our Thai/Chinese Pad Kee Mao. Yes, stay with me there. So I make it really al dente because we are going to be putting it in a skillet and cooking it more. So we don't want to make it too soft and then it will just fall apart in the skillet. Now, as a side note, if you use rice noodles, they will just disintegrate if you're not careful. So you gotta be really careful not to overcook them. All right, so I have drained the noodles, and we're gonna get the skillet back going really hot. I've left some of the goody juices and nice crusties in there from our first stir fry. So we're going to put more oil. Now, I do use olive oil for this. So we could say that it's a Greek, Italian, Thai, Chinese dish tonight, if you will. Okay? So we're gonna let this go on screaming hot until the oil starts smoking. And then we're gonna put the noodles in. And we're going to make them almost browned. We're gonna take the noodles in and really fry them. That's part of the whole experience with this dish is texture. All right, so as you can see, we're smoking away here. I'm gonna put the noodles in and get them moving. I'm gonna season them just a little bit with more soy sauce, more salt. You have mere seconds. You gotta keep them moving. Just a second or two between movement. Otherwise, they'll stick and burn. See how they're kind of turning like brown, and they're kind of picking up some of that nice crusty from the first stir fry. Need to add a little more oil. All right, now we're going to go in with that first set of vegetables and meat. Stir fry that all together. All right, now we got to get it out of this skillet, this wok, I should say, pretty quickly. So, we're going to take it over here, and I'm going to now throw in my green onions. I'm just going to run a little bit of a chop through them here. This is fairly time sensitive. Again, the green onions come on after it comes off the heat because they will just disappear and disintegrate pretty quickly and we lose all their vibrantness. Not that they won't taste good, but we want it to look good too. I'm going to transfer it into my stainless steel serving bowl here, and there we go. Now this is an insulated stainless steel bowl, so it keeps the noodles nice and hot while you're eating it. But anyway, Pad Kee Mao. What a delicious, it's so delicious. It smells wonderful. It looks wonderful. I'm going to get a close-up of this. There we go. Look at it. The only thing left to do is to eat it. Okay. So. I really don't know what to say. I really don't want to. I can't talk. It is debilitatingly delicious. Do yourself a favor and make some Pad Kee Mao. Trust me, you'll feel good about yourself. You've just invented the cool kids table, and everybody's going to want to sit with you when you make this. I mean, whew. I almost forgot to mention, I'll see you somewhere around the world on the next episode of Eating Global.